Chief Devonick gives everyone a tour. You know, a few years ago, with the support of Councilman Reynolds and City Council, we embarked on an effort really to try to incorporate more technology across the board in all the departments with iPads, etc. People don't have to come in and write up reports. Let's just do it one step with the iPad. We're making progress. We're not there yet, but we've made a lot of progress over the last few years. This is an extension of that. It's an extension of having to do a whole new web page. We want to become more transparent, more accountable. It will give us more data reports, which is so important. And I think that, you know, this is a step in the right direction, and hopefully when we have a new web page within the next month or 2 months, that will be an exciting change too for the citizens of Bethlehem. When we do our newsletter, the fall newsletter, this will be a focus of the newsletter, the new app, the new number, and the new website. So hopefully that will be mailed to all the citizens that we receive a recycling newsletter, and that will get the message out there too. So Esther, I think I saw your hand up there.
Yeah. Big one, but it's here.
That's again.
Just the point, as Mr. Reynolds was talking, you know, the same thing happens in our school district, that there are people that simply just don't have the tools for, you know, picking up, using the systems that we project them.
Right.
So I think I don't know how we would ever get a fix on that. School district, the teachers can kind of do that better than the city can. I don't know that we have tools that work out how many households do not have computers.
Well, what we're in the process of doing, and Councilman Reynolds, myself, and Dr. Roy met about a month and a half ago to talk about the Wi-Fi citywide, and the number of students in the Bethlehem School District that don't have access to Wi-Fi since textbooks are being eliminated with Chromebooks and iPads now for everything. And they will be coming back to us in the near distant future with a number of locations of where the students in the Bethlehem School District basically have no Wi-Fi. I think we want to call in RCN and service and others to see if we could provide this service throughout the city. Education is the great equalizer. You and I have talked about that many times. And it is a great digital divide, as Councilman Reynolds said. So what we really want to do is hopefully maybe in the distant future make Bethlehem a Wi-Fi community. And that would be great, just, you know, not just for the public, but also for the education process in the city. So I'm looking forward to the meeting with, and I know Willie is too, with Dr. Roy as far as what numbers, how many people don't have access to Wi-Fi.
Not only Wi-Fi, they have computers.
Yeah.
You know, so that's all, it's all a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So, can't buy them, I know that.
But I think we're in a step, we're moving in the right direction, even with the school district too,
Yeah.
which is so important, because that is the great equalizer.
You bet.
Good.
Today's world.
Yeah. Any other questions? Go ahead.
An acknowledgement. You submit a request. How do you know it's been received? How do you know if it's been acted on?
I'm going to let Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Evans answer that question.
Okay, there are again 4 ways you can enter it. If you make that phone call, 865-7000. I used it for the first time this weekend. There's an issue in my neighborhood, and I thought, and I want to emphasize that Service Center is operational. It has been for some time through a soft opening. We want to get it going, making sure it would be effective and efficient and internal, and then build and let it blossom from there. So it has been taking phone calls, and we expect them to take more as the word gets out. We thank the media for being involved to help us get this word out, that 865-7000 will handle the calls and then move it to the right place. Whether they take that phone call, whether it comes in through the app or through email, that it will be entered into what we call service requests, an internal application that we use, and that will provide us with an electronic audit trail. For the person entering, and this is mentioned, it will be both on the website, on the app. If you would like to follow up yourself electronically, you go to our website. You do need to create an eGov account to track it, so that you can track it at home without any assistance from the internal City of Bethlehem employees. You also have the opportunity to call back at any time, because we have that electronic audit, because that service request is being tracked. It will open an order. It will be sent to whatever department that is chosen. When it comes into the phone, the dispatcher downstairs will choose which bureau it belongs to, classify it, and send it off. From there, each bureau will then become responsible, and they will be held accountable to complete their request and close it. From time to time, it may be open for extended period, depending on the complexity of the project. But the idea is it will be followed up. If there is an extension needed, the text can be entered to explain to the mayor or the department head why there's a delay on servicing it. So if a resident calls back a week later and hasn't been taken care of, it can be looked up and find out where does it belong, who's to be handling it, why it hasn't been handled, can be the next step from there. The hope is that they will be handled. We've had meetings, we had informational meetings with 100 people. When that service request is entered, depending on the classification of that request, it's attached to the email of 2, 3, for redundancy purposes, from 2 to 5 people will get that request. And when it's handled, it'll be closed out, and that way we'll be able to know exactly where it belongs. If it comes in through an app and you pick something that wasn't the right category, it's looked at by the dispatchers. They'll make sure it's in the right category, so as it goes through the flow, it's going to the right bureau, so it's handled. If there's an issue, the bureau can redirect it if it goes to the wrong person that should be handling it. And during those meetings, when we trained 100 people, we followed up with 40 other people that we trained on the application of the software itself. If we do see there are blemishes early on, we expect anticipate there may be some bumps along the way early on during these phone calls. If there are issues, they are to talk to Mr. Novotnik, who will then, again, talk to dispatchers to make sure what are the most common calls coming in, and if there's something misclassified, that it gets corrected. So that's the flow that we anticipate. And again, it is operational now. We hope to that time, as this continues to build, it also becomes more efficient both for residents but also internally for our operations.
And I think once we get up and started too, when we take that data, I think we'll see an increase in usage after that newsletter goes out, as far as everyone getting familiar with the process. But I think that's data that we would put on the webpage, provide members of City Council with monthly reports or every other month. I would like to see the numbers monthly. So I think it's just more information for the public to see, and more accountability. And I think the key, and Eric and Chief Novotnik did an excellent job here in really training everyone with the IT department. So 100 people have been trained regarding the process, and the department heads have to implement this if necessary. Okay. Anything else? Okay, you're welcome to follow the chief for a tour. Go ahead, Chief.
Just before we go downstairs, I just want to say to thank all the city employees that were involved in this, from HR through our IT department to the dispatchers we retained down there, to the department folks that are going to answer these service requests. The cooperation was 100%. I mean, everybody was on board with us. So that was very important. City employees do a great job here. And the next thing I just want to tell you is when we go downstairs, it's active down there. They just had a 2-alarm fire call a little while ago. Chief Aki's guys on 4th Street, that was taken care of. But there'll be other things taking place down there on the cameras and some other things. We're going to let you photograph in there at different times. But there'll be 1 or 2 screens you cannot photograph. I'll point them out when we go in there. It's the NCIC, the National Crime Information Center. And I think we'll have, if you'll come down with us, Captain Koch, and just, she'll be over in that area talking about how NCI works. And Chief Aki, I guess, will come down with us too, to walk through there. But there's a couple things you won't see. There'll be some activity there, and I'll explain the 4 ways, as Mr. Evans said, that the calls will come into us. And in addition to that, if you have any questions, we'll answer anything you want down there. Okay? And we'll go down the elevators and drop down 1 level. Got a pretty big group.